The motel room was cold, quiet, and smelled faintly of bleach. Emma Cade blinked against the harsh, flickering light above her and slowly sat up. Her head throbbed like someone had hit it with a brick. The thin sheet slipped down her arms. That's when she saw it. Blood, not a little, not just a scrape. Her hands were stained red, her fingernails packed with it. Dried and tacky, her breath hitched. She looked down at herself. Her shirt was torn at the shoulder, her jeans scuffed and muddy. Panic crawled through her skin. She turned her head and that's when she screamed. A man lay on the floor beside the bed, slumped near the baseboard heater. Blood pooled around his head. He wasn't breathing. His eyes were half open, staring blankly at the ceiling. Emma scrambled back until her spine hit the headboard. She covered her mouth, her whole body shaking. No, 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 ... Double quotes, her mind spiraled. This wasn't possible. David Marek was her ex. They'd ended badly, his temper, the threats, the restraining order she never followed through on. She hadn't seen him in months. Why was he here? She clutched her head, trying to remember last night. Blank, just bits and pieces. A bar, loud. Music, a whiskey sour, a cold sidewalk. Someone calling her name, then dash nothing. Emma rose unsteadily. Her legs felt like rubber. The mirror above the sink showed a version of her she didn't recognize. Wild hair, bloodshot eyes, and a cut above her brow. Her reflection asked the question her brain wouldn't let form. Did I do this? She checked for weapons. Nothing obvious. A broken lamp by the window, a cracked mug on the table. Her purse was open on the chair, contents scattered. Her phone gone. The only other item in the room was a crumpled motel receipt on the nightstand. Her name scribbled in pen. Room 16. No clue how she checked in. No memory of booking this place. Emma bent down, heart pounding, and touched David's wrist. Cold, she staggered back, breath ragged. If she called the cops, they'd never believe. Her prints were everywhere. Her history with David was on file. She'd told friends he was dangerous, even once muttered that she wished he'd vanish. She looked down at him again. A deep purple bruise marked his temple, crusted in blood. His shirt was torn at the collar like he'd been in a fight. Did we fight? Did I hit him? Or was someone else here? The door lock was scratched like it had been forced. A small, strange detail that made her pause. A scream rang outside, then laughter. Teenagers messing around in the parking lot. Emma backed away from the body and closed the curtain. She needed time. Answers. She wrapped her hands in a towel from the bathroom, shoved her wallet and keys into her bag, and slipped out the back. Rain had started. Her car was parked 2 spaces down. She didn't remember driving here. The seat was adjusted too far back. Had David driven? Had she come with someone else? She started the car, hands trembling, and merged onto the main road. For the next hour, Emma drove without direction. Her mind raced. Every red light made her think of sirens. Every pedestrian seemed to stare too long. She pulled into an empty strip mall lot and finally let herself cry. She didn't want to believe she'd killed him. But part of her, some deep buried part, wasn't surprised. He'd cornered her once in her own home, screamed about betrayal, about making her pay. Maybe last night had been the final confrontation, but why couldn't she remember? She opened. Her glove box inside was an unfamiliar folded note. You finally did it. Now run. Her stomach turned. That wasn't her handwriting. It wasn't David's either. Emma stared at the note until the ink blurred. Someone else knew. Someone else had been in that room. A memory tried to surface, flashing neon signs. Someone holding her elbow tightly. A whisper in her ear. "You'll be fine, just go along with it." Emma reached for her keys. If she wanted answers, she had. To go backward to the last place she remembered being fully herself. The bar. The rain had turned to mist by the time Emma reached the narrow brick-front bar downtown. Its neon sign buzzed faintly, the hollow lantern casting a weak green glow over the sidewalk. It was late morning now, but the place was open, barely. She stepped inside, pulling her hood tighter. The smell of stale beer and old would hit her immediately. A lone bartender was wiping down the counter. He looked up as she approached. "Back already?" he asked. Emma froze. "What? You were in last night? With that guy?" He squinted. "He your boyfriend or something?" "No," she said, too fast, too harsh. I don't remember much." "What did you see?" The bartender, a wiry man with sharp eyes, raised an eyebrow. "You both were... intense. Arguing. He was drunk, kept leaning into you. You didn't look too happy about it." "Did I leave with him?" He leaned on the counter. "I dunno. I turned away for a bit, and then both of you were gone. I figured..." "You stormed out together." Emma swallowed hard. "Was there anyone else? Anyone watching us?" The bartender thought for a second. "Actually... yeah. Some guy in a hoodie. Sat near the back. Didn't order anything, just watched." Emma's pulse quickened. "Could you describe him?" "Not really. He kept his head down. Pale, maybe. Kinda tall." "You okay, miss?" She backed away. "Thanks. I just needed to confirm." "Something, hey," he called as she turned to leave. "You left your scarf last night, behind the booth." Emma turned. He handed her a dark red scarf. Hers stained faintly at the edge. She stepped outside, clutching it like a lifeline. Someone had been there, watching. Someone besides David. She needed to retrace every step. She walked toward where her right app would have picked her up only. Her phone was still missing. She stopped at a kiosk and borrowed a stranger's phone with a trembling smile. Downloaded the app. Logged in, trip history. Her last recorded ride. 11:18 p.m. Picked up from the hollow lantern. Dropped off not at the motel. Instead, 3 blocks away from it, near a vacant lot. What? She pulled up the driver's info and called. The man who answered sounded half asleep. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I took a ride with you last night. Need to know if I was alone." "You? Oh yeah. You were with some guy. Dark jacket, silent type. Didn't say a word the whole ride." "You didn't either. Did you see where we went after you dropped us off?" "Not really." "You both walked toward that big old motel across the lot. Looked shady, to be honest." Emma felt cold all over. "Do you know what time it was?" "Close to midnight, I think." "You okay?" She hung up before answering. So she hadn't gone to the motel alone. Who was the man? She ducked into a diner, sat in the back booth, and laid out what she knew. She left the bar with David. Someone was watching them. A third man was with her in the ride. They went to the motel, where David ended up dead. Her phone was gone. Someone left her that note. "You finally did it. Now run." Emma's hands shook. She couldn't go to the police, not yet. Not until she knew if she had really done it, or if someone had set her up. She thought of someone who might help. Someone who didn't trust the police either. Rachel, her old roommate. A hacker, paranoid, brilliant, and still owed Emma a favor. Emma caught a bus across town, ducking low whenever sirens passed. Every face on the street looked suspicious. Every shadow seemed to move. Rachel lived in a cluttered apartment above a pawn shop. When Emma knocked, a familiar voice called out, "If you're selling Jesus or vacuum cleaners, turn around." Emma called through the door. "It's me, Emma." A pause. Then the sound of locks clicking. Rachel opened the door in pajama pants and a Slayer t-shirt. Her eyes scanned Emma in a heartbeat. "You look like hell." "I might have killed someone," Emma said. "I need your help." Rachel didn't even blink. "Come in." Inside, Rachel's place was chaos. Screens everywhere. Wires, mugs. With ancient coffee, she tossed Emma a blanket and pointed at the couch. "Talk." Emma told her everything except the name of the dead man. Not yet. She didn't want Rachel to panic or refuse to help. Rachel raised an eyebrow. "And your phone's missing." Emma nodded. "Can you track it?" Rachel tapped on a keyboard, cracked her knuckles, and grinned. "Let's find your ghost." It took 15 minutes. The signal was faint, but it was there. "Got it," Rachel said. It pinged twice after 1 a.m., both near the Chariot Hotel, not the motel where the guy was found. Emma leaned forward. "What does that mean?" Rachel turned slowly to her. "It means that either you or someone pretending to be you went somewhere else afterward." Emma's head spun. "I thought I killed him." Rachel stared at her, then asked, "Are you sure he was dead when you left?" Emma hadn't slept. She couldn't, even as Rachel dozed on the couch, surrounded by open laptops and junk food wrappers. Emma sat near the window, replaying the question over and over. Was he dead when I left? She remembered the way David's skin felt cold. But how long had he been lying there before she touched him? 5 minutes, 50. And who was the man in the hoodie? The silent passenger in the car? She stood abruptly. Rachel stirred. "Where are you going?" Emma turned. "I need to see the motel again. Something's missing." Rachel rubbed her eyes. "Bad idea. Cops are probably crawling all over it." "I won't go inside. I'll stay in the lot." Rachel hesitated, then handed Emma a burner phone. "Take this. Yours is still pinging at the Chariot Hotel. I'll keep tracking it." Emma parked across the street from the rundown building. She'd fled yesterday. The Pineview Motel looked like a crime scene from a TV show, cheap, forgettable, too quiet. But the yellow tape she expected wasn't there. No cop cars, no reporters, nothing that didn't make sense. She crossed the street cautiously. Her heart thundered as she approached room 106. The door was closed. No lock tape, no signs of entry, just silence. She glanced around, then noticed it. The security camera above the ice machine pointed right at the hallway. She scribbled the model number, then left fast. If the cops weren't investigating the murder, maybe they didn't know about it. Or maybe someone covered it up. Back at Rachel's, Emma dropped onto the couch. No police tape, no officers, nothing. Rachel was already working. "I ran a sweep. There's no report of a body at that location. No 911 calls. No death record for a David Marek in the last 48 hours. Emma blinked. "What?" "According to public records," Rachel said, "David Marek isn't dead." Emma whispered, "Then where is he?" Just then, the burner phone buzzed. "Unknown number. Emma stared at it, then answered. A man's voice spoke, calm, cold. "Stop asking questions, Emma. What happened was your choice. You don't want to dig any deeper. Double quotes, click. Emma dropped the phone. They know I'm looking. Rachel stood up, face pale. That was a warning, but it means you're close to something. Later that day, Emma went to a library, hoping for anonymity. She searched for anything connecting David to the Chariot Hotel. It didn't take long. 3 weeks ago, David had been arrested for trespassing, there drunk, violent, shouting about being set up. The charges were dropped. No follow-up. Emma jotted it down. Then she felt it. That tingling awareness, that unshakable instinct. Someone was watching her. She turned, slowly. At the back of the library sat a man in a grey coat who'd lowered. He was staring right at her. Emma got up and walked fast, heart racing. She reached the sidewalk and kept walking. Footsteps behind her. She ducked into an alley. A shadow followed. "Why are you following me?" she snapped, spinning around. The man stopped. Up close, he looked mid-30s, lean but wiry with an intense gaze. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "My name is Alex Corrin. I'm a private investigator." Emma didn't lower her guard. "You've been stalking me since the bar." "I was hired," he said, "by David, 3 days before he died or disappeared." Emma froze. "What?" "He thought someone was after him," Alex continued. "He said he had evidence. Said he couldn't trust the cops. He wanted me to watch his back." "Why didn't you stop it?" she snapped. "He's dead." Alex held up a hand. "I was watching you both at the bar, but something went wrong. I lost track of him for a few hours. Now everything's off." Emma narrowed her eyes. "You think I killed him?" "I think someone wants you to think you did," Alex said. "And they're doing a damn good job of it." Emma brought Alex back to Rachel's, despite her better judgment. Rachel didn't trust him. "How do we know he's not playing both sides?" "Because," Alex said quietly, "David gave me something. Told me not to open it unless he vanished." He handed Emma a flash drive. They loaded it onto Rachel's computer. Video files, dozens, hidden cameras in motel rooms, hotel suites, private homes, men and women, arguing, politicians, executives, journalists. David had been recording people, illegally. Blackmail material? "Oh my God," Emma whispered. "He was into something big." Alex nodded grimly. "And he said you were the key to one of the files. That you knew something you'd forgotten." Emma looked at the frozen frame of David's face on the screen. Then the memory slammed into her. David shouting, "You were never supposed to see that." Her yelling back, "You ruined her life." A broken wine glass, a shove, and then darkness. "I think I know who the girl in that video was," she said, voice shaking. "She's dead now. It was all over the news a year ago. Suicide." Rachel and Alex both stared at her. "David recorded it," Emma whispered. "And someone doesn't want that getting out." Emma couldn't stop shaking. The grainy video still filled the screen. David's voice, calm and calculated, coaxing answers from a clearly distressed woman. The woman was Alina Brooks, a junior political aide who had allegedly taken her own life a year ago after an unnamed scandal ended her career. Now Emma knew the truth. David hadn't just filmed her, he manipulated her, blackmailed her, and whatever she told him, it had gotten her killed. "I didn't know," Emma whispered. "He told me he just wanted to help her. He said she was paranoid." Rachel frowned. "This doesn't just look bad for David. It looks dangerous. Like someone's been protecting him or the people he blackmailed." Alex leaned in. "This is why someone wanted David gone. But if they thought Emma had copies, they'd come for me, too, she finished. And maybe they had. Rachel began scanning the other files on the drive. Most were encrypted. Some had names, just initials, meeting dates, room numbers. But one folder stood out. Insurance. Inside was a list of emails, passwords, and 2 contact names. Grace Hollins, Lena Vossimer's heart skipped. I know. That first name, Grace. She worked at the bar where David and I met. She was a waitress there. Alex's eyes narrowed. Think she knew him? I don't know, Emma said. But she might know something. They found Grace Hollins 2 hours later, except she wasn't answering her phone. She wasn't posting online. And her apartment had police tape on the door. Emma's stomach dropped. Alex showed his pie badge and asked a neighbor what happened. The woman, mid-50s, looked nervous. That poor girl. They found her this morning. OD. But I swear, she wasn't the type. She was clean, for months. Emma's hands clenched. Another death. Another woman tied to David. Another suicide that smelled wrong. Rachel called from the car. I dug into her phone records. Grace called David 3 times last week. She left a voicemail saying, "You can't keep this buried. Forever. I'm done lying for you." Alex muttered, "That's motive." Emma stared at the sidewalk. They're cleaning up, killing anyone who could talk. Back at Rachel's, the tension thickened. This isn't about David anymore, Rachel said. This is about who he was working for, against. Emma slumped in the chair. And whoever they are, they're watching us. Rachel didn't argue. I did another trace. The drive tried to ping an external server when we opened it. Someone knows we have it. Alex stood. Then we go dark. No phones, no email, no traceable contact. Emma looked up. What about the other name on the drive? Lena Voss. Alex paused. I know that name. She used to work in cyber intelligence, quietly disappeared from the public eye after a whistleblower scandal. Rachel spun toward them. Hold up. Lena Voss used to work for Kepler Systems. That's a private contractor that supplies tech. To guess who Congress? Military, intelligence. Emma's voice cracked. You're saying David was blackmailing people inside Kepler? Or maybe he was working for them, Rachel said, and decided to flip. Emma, Alex, and Rachel tracked Lena to a remote cabin 2 hours out of the city. It was off-grid, no internet, no cell towers. Just a gravel road and miles of dense woods. Lena met them at the door with a rifle in hand. You're either stupid or suicidal. Coming here, she said. We found your name on David Marrick's hard drive, Emma said. We're not here to expose you. We're trying to survive. That got her attention. Inside, Lena was calm but guarded. Mid-40s, eyes sharp. She made tea while Emma explained everything, the blackout memory, the body, the flash drive, Grace's death. Lena set the mug down. I warned David not to go rogue. He didn't listen. He thought he was clever, tried to play both sides. Which sides? Alex asked. Lena took a breath. He worked as a middleman, collected intel, arranged exchanges. When he got greedy, he started keeping copies. Thought they'd keep him safe. They didn't, Emma said bitterly. No, Lena agreed. And now you're holding the only thing he died protecting. Emma leaned forward. Can you decrypt the files? Some, Lena said. But it'll take time. Emma nodded. I need the truth. I need to know what really happened that night. Lena looked at her. And what if you don't like the answer? Emma didn't blink. I'd rather live with a painful truth than die for someone else's lie. That night, back at Lena's, Emma stood by the window, watching the trees sway in the dark. She still didn't know what happened in that motel room, but now she was sure of one thing: someone had killed David. Someone had killed Grace, and someone still wanted her to believe she'd done it. But they'd made one mistake. They didn't kill her yet. The storm rolled in as night fell over the cabin, thunder muttering in the distance like an angry warning. Lena's generator hummed softly beneath the floorboards, powering just enough light for her decrypted files to flicker onto the screen. Emma leaned over Lena's shoulder, her stomach tight. Anything. Lena tapped a few keys. Some of the videos are corrupted, but I found names, high-ranking ones, defense contractors, judges, even a senator. David had dirt on half the eastern corridor. He didn't know when to stop. Emma sat down hard. So who killed him? One of them. Alex paced by the window. Could have been anyone tied to Kepler systems. They have contractors for everything, ex-intel guys, private fixers. If David stepped out of line, they'd make sure the problem disappeared. Rachel, chewing nervously on a pen, added, "And you were the last loose thread." Emma looked up, then it's time to pull the thread. Her plan came to her like a jolt of lightning. "We make them think I'm going to leak everything," Emma said. "Publicly, loudly, a live upload. No delay." Rachel blinked. "You want to bait them?" "Yes. If I'm really the last target, they'll come for me. And when they do, we catch them." Lena raised an eyebrow. "You sure you're not ex-CIA?" Emma gave a shaky smile. "I'm just a girl who wants to stop running." The trap took shape quickly. Rachel scrubbed metadata and routed their broadcast signal through multiple dummy locations. Lena tapped an old contact to drop a tip to a known Kepler affiliate, hinting that Emma would be going live at 9 p.m. With a full data dump of David's files, they set up in an abandoned ranger outpost 2 miles from Lena's cabin salate. Silent, perfect. At 8:57 p.m., Emma sat in front of a laptop camera, hands trembling as the red light blinked on. She didn't stream the real files, just a decoy folder full of harmless junk. But the headline on screen read, "Exposing the Network, What David Marek Died For." The bait was irresistible. 9:12 p.m. Footsteps. Lena whispered, "Movement." Westridge. Alex peered through night vision goggles. 2 targets. Tactical. Gear. Suppressed weapons. "These aren't freelancers." Emma's pulse roared. "They came." Alex nodded. "Let them come closer. We want them inside." Moments later, the door burst open. Emma ducked behind the desk as Lena hit the floodlights. Alex moved like a shadow, silent and fast, disarming the first intruder with a blow to the neck. The second fired, once missed. Rachel shrieked from the corner. Emma scrambled toward the panic button Lena had wired to an auto-transmit beacon. She slammed it. The backup Lena arranged 2 of her old contacts were already closing in. Within seconds, both intruders were down, restrained and unconscious. Lena crouched beside one, pulling a patch from his chest armor. Kepler security. She looked up at Emma. "You were right." Emma's breath caught. "I need to know if I, Alex crouched beside her, nodding. "I searched the guy's comms. There's a message from last night. A time-stamped log." He played it. "Target neutralized. Room 16. Woman fled. Package delivered. No cleanup needed, he was dead on arrival. Emma's legs buckled. Then I didn't do it. You didn't, Alex confirmed. You were drugged, set up to take the fall. Rachel, now shaking too, said they were trying to break you. Make you question yourself, Lena added. That's how they erase threats, by making them doubt their victims. Back at the cabin, the pieces finally came together. David had stolen the files to protect himself, but he'd pushed too far. Grace had tried to help Emma, so they silenced her. Emma had been the fall guy all along, but they underestimated her. Emma uploaded the evidence not to the public, but to 5 independent journalists, with a timed release and insurance copies, stashed globally. The names in the files wouldn't stay hidden for long. I'm not scared anymore, she said as they watched the upload complete. Alex gave her a look of genuine respect. They picked the wrong woman to frame. Lena nodded. You're not just surviving this, you're ending it. But later that night, as rain beat against the cabin roof, Emma stared out the window, haunted, because one thing still didn't make sense. The scratch marks on the motel door, the fact that David had called her to meet, not the other way around, and in the drive's corrupted files, there was still one locked folder, labeled EK03, her initials. The rain had stopped by morning, but the quiet that followed wasn't peaceful. It was too still, like the air was holding its breath. Emma sat beside Rachel, watching the last folder on David's drive, EK03. Her initials, her birth date in the metadata. She clenched her jaw. Open it. Rachel hesitated. You sure? I need the truth, Emma whispered. All of it. With a few keystrokes, the lock broke. Inside, one video file, 30 seconds long. No label, no time. Just a plain black screen. Then Emma's voice. Do you have it? Did you get the copy? David's voice answered, shaky and urgent. Yeah, but this is too far. If they find out, they already suspect. That's why we need leverage. Emma blinked. What? Rachel paused. The video. You sound calm. Like this wasn't the first time you talked about it. Alex leaned forward. You knew about the recordings. Emma's mind reeled. I don't remember that. I swear I don't. Could be trauma, Lena said quietly. Or someone made sure you didn't remember. Emma stared at the screen. Her voice, her face. Helping David, not a victim. A partner, I was in on it, she whispered. We were working together. Rachel scanned the drive again. There's another text file buried inside that folder. Looks like a list of names. Your name, Grace Hollins, Lena Voss. All marked. Handlers, Lena frowned. I was never a handler, but someone used our names, Rachel said. They built a web around Emma, around this whole thing. Alex's face darkened. They weren't just trying to frame you for murder. They were trying to erase evidence of what you all knew. Emma rose to her feet. Then that means David didn't lure me to the motel. I lured him. Rachel scrolled through GPS data from the phone. There's a gap between 10:30 and 11 p.m. The night of his death, just long enough for someone to intercept you. Emma's mind swirled. The memory fragments suddenly sharpened. A hand on her shoulder in a dark alley. A needle-cold pavement. She hadn't blacked out from alcohol. She'd been drugged. They reviewed David's last emails. One draft, never sent, was addressed to her. Emma, I think we've made a mistake. I don't trust them anymore. We need to go dark, now. If something happens to me, open EK03. You'll remember who we really were. Dima sat in silence, her eyes blurred. She hadn't just stumbled into a conspiracy. She'd been part of it. But something shifted. David panicked, tried to back out. And someone decided he had to die, and Emma. She was supposed to be next. Lena leaned back. There's only one person who could have orchestrated this level of deception. Someone deep in Kepler's private security division. A fixer named Reese. Colder, Alex nodded. I've heard the name. Ghost reputation. Makes problems disappear. Emma stood. Then let's make this problem reappear. The group moved fast. Rachel traced Calder's last known operation to a luxury tower down floor, locked down tight. Cameras, guards, everything. Emma disguised herself with a scarf and glasses, walked into the lobby, and pretended to be a courier. It worked. Security waved her in with barely a glance. Inside the elevator, her hands shook. She wasn't sure what she would find. A confession, a warning, or another lie. But when the doors opened to the penthouse, she found something else entirely. Calder was already gone. Documents shredded, hard drives wiped, a single envelope left on the counter with her name written on it in perfect cursive. She opened it. You were never supposed to remember. He did. That's why he had to die. Attached, a photo of her and David, arms around each other, smiling. Not weeks ago, months. Back at the cabin, Emma didn't speak for a long time. Then she said, quietly, I think I loved him, even after everything. Rachel said, that's what they used. Your trust, Alex added, and your guilt. They twisted it to break you. Emma nodded, but they failed. She looked at the drive, now fully decrypted, dozens of names, dozens of crimes, all ready for exposure. But something still lingered. A final question she couldn't answer when she left that motel room. David had already been dying, but had she started it? The sun rose slowly over the hills, bathing the cabin in soft gold. But to Emma, it didn't feel like an ending. It felt like a pause, a moment stolen from a story that still refused to end. The names, the files, the truth. They had it all. Lena encrypted the final drive and sent copies to trusted journalists in 3 countries. Rachel wired the documents to a digital vault set to release publicly if they were ever killed or captured. Alex prepared an exit plan for everyone, but Emma didn't want to run anymore. I need to see him, she said. 2 days later, they located David's body. It had been hidden in a private morgue and registered under a fake name, used by Black Ops teams to quietly handle classified casualties. Lena pulled strings to get her inside. The attendant opened the drawer, and there he was. David Marek, cold, still real. Emma's breath caught. His face was more peaceful than she remembered. Like all the chaos he'd lived with had finally burned out. She reached for his hand. I remember now, she whispered. Not everything, but enough. She had loved him and hated him. He had used her hand, tried to protect her. He'd been manipulative, but not entirely cruel, just scared. Like her, Rachel found the coroner's notes. Time of death, 1:15 a.m. Cause, blunt force trauma to the head. Additional note, evidence of pre-existing internal bleeding, likely from an earlier assault. Estimated 11:45 p.m. Emma blinked at that line, 11:45 p.m. She had fled the motel around midnight, meaning he was already dying when she left. But maybe, just maybe, she had struck the first blow. Emma stood in front of a national inquiry panel a month later. The files had gone public. Politicians resigned. Executives were indicted. Kepler systems denied everything. But the damage was done. They offered Emma immunity in exchange for testimony. She told the truth, at least. The truth she could prove. That she and David had worked together. That he had tried to take down something bigger than both of them. That she had been manipulated, drugged, and nearly destroyed to bury the secret. But when the prosecutor asked her the final question, "Did you kill David Marek, Ms. Cade?" she paused. The room held its breath. Emma looked at her hands. The memory of his blood, the bruises, the argument, the silence, and said, "I don't know." They released her. No trial, no charges. Too many of the people involved were already falling. They didn't want a martyr. They wanted silence. But Emma refused to disappear. She gave interviews, wrote a book, told victims' families what they deserved to hear. Not closure, but truth. She started a foundation for whistleblowers and survivors of corporate blackmail. She moved to a quiet place, changed her name, but not who she was. Alex visited sometimes. So did Rachel. Lena disappeared again just like before. But Emma stayed visible, a reminder, a question, years later. In a quiet cafe, a young journalist approached her. "Sorry," he said. "I know you don't do press anymore. I just wanted to ask one thing." She smiled politely. "What's that?" He lowered his voice. "Do you really believe you didn't kill him?" Emma stirred her coffee, looked out the window. "I believe I loved him," she said softly. "And I believe he died because we both tried to do something good the wrong way." "But did you kill him?" Emma met his gaze. "Some days," she said, "I think I did." She picked up her coffee and walked away. "The end, I killed him, or did I?"